Morning. It is Tuesday. What is the date? 17 September, year of our Lord 2024. And we are going to be talking about the Credit Crush assignment. And I have an announcement. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube uh, or anywhere online where we are live streaming, I need to ask. I'm not running the Zoom meeting this morning. I just did an update on Zoom, and it deleted the meeting and all the template. I'm not sure why. That's the kind of a little thing you should probably not do just before you go live, is update your Zoom. I've really liked Zoom over the years, but it is getting to be I think it's because this is the account for the University of Houston, and I just don't have enough control over it. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I have no Zoom link. So I am going to take just a second while we get started, and I'm going to jump into the group me and just make that announcement. So I apologize if you will just give me a minute. I'm going to try to do this without too much disruption. I'm going to jump into GroupMe. You hopefully won't see me doing this in the background, but we will try to go to. This is our class collaboration tool, and I rarely log into Zoom to GroupMe. It is for students. It's not for me. So here we go. Hey, gang. Sorry, but the Zoom is not working today. So I will be live streaming only now. And I think I'll put my initials in and hit okay. Awesome. I might just stay in GroupMe, and this is kind of cool. I'm in Zoom GroupMe right now. I could show you the screen, I guess, but probably not. But this is kind of an interesting thing. I've never tried this. It's an accident because today we don't have a Zoom meeting. But we do have a meeting, and this is an asynchronous course. So I apologize that we don't have a Zoom meeting for those of you who are planning to attend. But this semester, it's been unusual. Most students have not participated in the Zoom meeting, which is fine. They've watched on YouTube or Facebook or X or LinkedIn. And so that's awesome. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate you. So here I am looking at the, I'm looking at the GroupMe. And today I think I'm just going to maybe keep that, maybe not open. I'm going to try to not be too, okay, that's in desktop 5. If you could see my technology right now, let me see if I can show you my technology. So that's my technology, and I've got a lot of screens, as you can see. But if you look right here, you will see that is me in the Zoom room. I mean, the GroupMe, not, oh, I can't clear the drawing now. This is me playing with my technology. And I have lots of technology. So I'm going to just, let me see if I can reply to Jesus here. And I'm just going to say, thank you. How is the sound and how is the visual on the live stream? I can't really spell. Just see if we get an answer. Please go ahead and post any questions or comments here in GroupMe for today's lesson. We are starting now. Okay, there we go. Now I'll pop in every once in a while and see. Yeah, looks great. Thank you guys. This is kind of cool. I mean, having actual interaction because honestly, the Zoom meeting, you guys, I appreciate you being there, and sometimes you know interject, and that's awesome. But thank you, Layla. Yeah, YouTube is definitely typically better quality. I have not figured that out. But anyway, thank you guys for being here. Victoria, I hope you got the message that we're meeting here. Uh, and so, okay. I see. Look, I don't jump into group me. This is your space, and I apologize that I'm invading it today. But it was like a last minute kind of, I have to do something to let you know that we're not having a Zoom meeting. We're still live, and you still will see this video posted in the playlist. So I think that's what we got going here. Let me make sure. Yeah, there's the playlist. Okay, let's get started. I am actually going to get started now, which means I'm going to pay less attention to the group me. I'll jump back over there and look for comments when we get to questions. So today we're going to talk about the Credit Crush. Credit Crush is a very special assignment. And I have, if you look at the video, in the video, you'll see a link to a post. The post is just a post that has the information that we'll be reviewing in today's lesson. But in that post, you will see that we are going to be covering the Credit Crush assignment, and I'm going to share a little bit about where this assignment came from today. But I wanted you to know in today's lecture, in this live stream, I wanted to spend sufficient time going through your Right Capital planning portal so that you can, let me get the microphone a little closer here. Hopefully. So what I want to make sure of is that you can actually do this assignment with very little effort. So if you watch this video, you will see me just going through, this is Billy's plan. It will have very little relevance to you, except that it is, it's going to help you navigate into your plan, and it will help you see what we're working on. So today we're going to do some interesting things. Let me just show you the list of things we're going to work on. We're going to talk about consumerism because that's really the basis for this plan. If we or this lesson, this lecture, consumerism is something that is it's a plague. You may not know it, you may not realize it, but you live in a culture of consumerism. It is money, greed, more. Consumerism, infected our culture, and it's affected you and me, and in some ways infected us as well. So I want to help you learn from a lesson that I learned early in my marriage. The title of today's lesson is Connie and the Credit Crush Assignment. So I'm going to tell you where that came from. I want to start just by kind of highlighting and setting the table about consumerism and contrast. I want to kind of compare and contrast consumerism, which is kind of a default mode of operation for most of us, for most folks who live in our culture. It is a lifelong battle to avoid or to just be aware of and present with the influences that make you take certain paths in your life. And it's a difficult thing to struggle against. In other words, consumerism is something that has mass appeal for you and for me and for everyone because, it is predominantly the way that we think. It's the way that we're marketed to. It's the way that you, especially as college students who are a huge target of marketers, are bait for very powerful messages that influence the way you think and they influence your behaviors. So that's what I wanted to do today, to just kind of set the table and help you recognize that you live in a culture of consumerism. And it is really important if you want to make a difference in the outcome of your financial life. You have to pay attention and know and just be aware that consumerism is really going to impact you. And wisdom, on the other hand, is something I don't know how much you think about wisdom, but I want you just to start to think about wisdom and how wisdom operates in your mind, in your life, in your behavior, and really especially in your financial life. Consumerism in our culture is tremendously powerful for so many reasons that I will not be able to cover today. Just want you to know that it is the water you swim in. And consumerism is something that is already got you, whether you know it or not. Hopefully you do. Hopefully you're able to say, yeah. We live in a culture of consumerism. Everybody wants to get your money in their pocket. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I wanted to start by, hold on, I'm going to cough. I'm going to mute my mic. Yeah, sorry about that. So I wanted to introduce you to a very special person in my life. Today's lesson is named after Connie, my wife, and I mentioned her a couple of times in the past, and I've read your comments, and I appreciate your comments, and I appreciate the fact that you appreciate that I love my wife, and I believe she's a gift from God, and I appreciate all of those beautiful words you shared with me over the last couple of assignments. But I thought it'd be kind of cool just to introduce you to this woman who is my best friend, my wife, and she is one of the best human beings I've ever known. She really is a special lady. Her name is Connie. She's my wife. She's my best friend. And we started a family together a long, long time ago. Connie was, when we first got married, I spent a good deal of time spending money. I like to spend money. I spend more money than I should. Still, to this day, I'm not afraid of spending money. I enjoy spending money. I enjoy buying things. I work hard. I make pretty good money, and I feel like it's owed to me to be able to spend the money that I make the way I want to spend it. That, my friends, is a pretty good example of consumerism. And when we first got married, I made pretty good money, but I spent more than I made. Connie worked as well. She was a teacher, and I was a teacher. Actually, no, I was an auto mechanic. I went to school to be a teacher, and that's where we met. So anyway, Connie discovered that we were buried in debt. And the debt that we had was because of me, because I spent a lot of money on credit. And Connie discovered that we were paying the minimums on our accounts. And Connie managed the bills. She wrote the checks. So she was paying attention to the fact that the balances of all these things that I'd purchased on credit, the balances were going up, and we were going to be buried in debt. And she recognized that, and she said, time out. And she wanted to do what she called a spending freeze. Well, we did that. We committed to one another we would go on a spending freeze. And I broke that vow. A buddy of mine named Vance Miller, Vinny, we called him Vinny. Vinny was a guy who had access to a lot of cool toys, including guns, and I always wanted a .357 Magnum pistol. He found one. He bought it. He knew I didn't have the money to pay for it, so he bought it for me. He said, you can pay me payments. So it was like, cool. And so I was talking to Vance on the phone one day in our new home, and I was laying on the floor in the living room and talking to Vance, thinking that my wife, who was watching TV in the room on the couch, wasn't really paying attention, but she was paying attention, and she heard me talking to Vinny, and she discovered that I had bought a gun, a pistol, and that I broke our commitment to the spending freeze. And she walked over that day, and she had a glass of ice water, and she poured it on me. And that was her way of saying, I am disgusted with you. You lied to me. You broke our vow. We're not in this together. You're messing up our marriage. And yeah, I was really upset with her that day. But she was right. She got my attention. I came back as I have 1,000 times and said those 12 special words. If you don't know these 12 words, I'm going to teach them to you right now. 12 special words. I am sorry. That's 3. I was wrong. That's 3 more. Please forgive me. That's a total of 9. And then the magic words you always say to the person you love. I love you. And I said those 12 words. I've said them 1,000 times, and they worked. They've worked over and over and over. She's forgiven me more times than either of us can count. But that's where this lesson came from. So I hope you enjoy it. Mainly, I hope you learn from it. I hope that our story and our experience can help you avoid something that can be very dangerous in your financial life, which is getting buried in debt because you're not paying attention. You're spending and spending on things you don't really need to impress people you don't really know with money you don't really have. So spending on credit it can be disastrous. So that's what this lesson is about. So now I want to share something because today's lesson is about consumerism and wisdom and contrasting and comparing. And I saw this clip. This is about 1 semester old, but I want to play it. And this is about to be our weekly secret class collaboration. So mark the time. It is now 10:18 a.m. So we're about 18 minutes into this live stream, and I'm going to hit the button, and you're going to watch this clip. And from this clip that you're about to watch, you will give me your comments and tell me what you think about what this man says in this clip.
Mr. President, thank you for having us.
Thank you, Tucker.
At your Camp David, which is beautiful. So you were inaugurated 2 days ago. This is a small country, and yet your inauguration was international news, was everywhere. Why? Why do you think that is?
Well, it was a shock for us too. I mean, we knew that a lot of people were coming, and I mean that will draw some attention, of course.
In your inaugural, and I was listening on headphones for the translation, so I just want to check this. You said, "We have achieved this great victory and made this a safe country, and that's the predicate for everything that follows. And the next thing we're going to do in this term is to work on the economy to make it better,
grow the economy." Yeah.
And you said, correct me if I'm wrong. You said I have a 3-point plan, and I'm thinking, I wonder what that is. I don't know. Start a Federal Reserve Bank, and you said the first point of my plan is seek God's wisdom.
Yes.
That is what you said.
Yeah, I said that. Yeah.
Why would that be the first point of an economic plan?
Why wouldn't it be? Why should it be the first part of the plan?
Well, I think it should be.
Yeah.
But I can't.
And most people would think that, right?
I've never heard any leader of any country say that.
Because they probably forgot to represent the people that elect them. Yeah. It's like you ask most of the people that elect the politicians, they say, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I believe that. But then you ask the politician, and he will say, no, that's not. So who is he trying to pandering to? I mean, it doesn't make sense, right?
Do you think...
So it's a common sense thing to seek God's wisdom.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's a prerequisite for wise decision making, I would say.
Yes, exactly. So that's the first part of our plan. So that's the first part of our plan. So that's the first part of our plan.
So that's the first part of our plan, he said. Seeking God's wisdom is a prerequisite for wise decision making. I think that's what he said. Anyway, that is your secret class collaboration discussion. I just want to know, when you listen to those words, and you can go back and listen to them again because they're there on the live stream. And that's one clip, by the way, that they don't give me a violation for playing. I've played a couple of clips that I get scolded and they take down the video, but that one they seem to allow. YouTube does anyway. So I want to know what you think. I just, when I heard those words, I thought, first of all, I thought this is a very attractive guy. I would vote for him. This is an election year. I hope every single one of you who can vote will vote. And you know what? I mean, I know how I'm going to vote. I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to vote, but I will tell you this. First time I voted, I was in college and I had the opportunity to vote, and it was for Ronald Reagan. He was 1980 was the year, and I was a Democrat all my life. I grew up just really attracted to the message of the Democrats. But when I got in college and I decided to do something with my life, my kind of my values started to shift. I started to ask a lot of questions. I started to be interested in really what's going on behind the scenes. And I discovered what you need to discover is that politicians, they lie. They lie to try to get you to vote for them so that, and they offer you stuff. They offer you stuff. They offer you more and more stuff so you'll vote for them. And that's how it works. And that's what I'm hoping you will start to think about, that we live in a culture of consumerism, and there's a lot of lies going on in our culture. And so I hope you'll vote. And even if you can't go wrong voting. And if you vote for someone, you're going to start to pay attention to what they say and what they do, and it's going to make you a more informed voter. And so I hope you'll take advantage of that and vote. And I'm not trying to influence how you vote. I just want you to be engaged. I want you to know this is your country, and it's buried in consumerism. So in this lesson, it's not about voting. It's not about the election. It's about your financial future. So here we go. Let's get started. You're going to do a couple of things in this assignment. First thing you're going to do is you're going to add 10 years to your age. So I want to kind of let you know, and I've talked about this before, and if you're not familiar with what we're about to do, let me just give you a brief overview. This semester, you're going to build a financial plan, and we're going to create a financial plan based on you being 10 years older than you actually are. So that means you're going to have to do some research, and it starts this week. The research is going to be based on you being 10 years older. So you're going to, first of all, change your age in your financial plan. And if you don't know how to do that, just kind of look at the screen and you can see you go to the upper navigation is profile and the lower navigation is family. And that's where you are. That's where your name is. That's where your birthday is. And so that's where you're going to go to change your birthday. If you haven't, hopefully you haven't done that yet. If you have, great, because this week and moving forward, you will be 10 years older. Now, that's going to set you up for some other changes that we're going to need to make in your financial plan so that you can start to create a vision for your financial future based on your hopes. And the first hope, I would call it an expectation, is that you are going to have a job that you want, that you are working towards right now. So that's the second kind of change, is you're going to go into your financial plan and you're going to input your income. So to do that, you'll go to dashboard, go to profile. I'm just showing you how to navigate through your plan. You'll go to profile and you'll go to income. Now, before you do this, I want you to do a little research. I want you to know what is the income that would make sense, that would be appropriate for you if you were 10 years older, you graduated from college, and you got your dream job. So many of you have already done this, I know. But in your financial plan, I want you to update this now and show, I want you to show this income that's based on you getting your dream job. I want you to show me that in your financial plan and take a screenshot as usual. It's one of the elements of the assignment this week. So that's what you're going to do for your income. You're going to do a little research and you're going to determine how much would you expect to make if you got the job that you hope to get when you graduate. So that's next. Next, after income, after you update your age, you update your income based on your research, then you're going to work on expenses. Now, we've talked about expenses a couple of times, and I have asked you to commit to tracking your spending throughout this semester. And many of you have kind of struggled with part of this part of the assignment already. And so there's a difference between your budget and your expenses. So in this assignment, I want to see your detailed worksheet of your expenses. And I'm not really looking, this is kind of like a budget, okay? It's just basically you saying, here's how much I'm going to spend each month. And it's not based on what you're spending today. Okay, this is where you have to do a little research. You have to maybe have a little creativity. I want you to think forward as if you're 10 years older. And I know you may not know what the expenses would be in your life after you graduate, after you get your dream job. Maybe you're married, maybe you're not, maybe you have a child or two. You get to decide. You can cast the vision for your life and imagine what that will look like 10 years down the road. Like if you would have asked me when I was in college, what's my vision? Where do I want to be? It would include a family. I really wanted to get married and have kids and have a family. That was like my dream. Maybe that's not yours. I get that, but you get to decide is all I'm saying. So there's no right or wrong answer, but here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for you to give me some, I want you to do a little research and have a good idea of what your monthly expenses will be. So you're going to do a detailed worksheet there, and you can add categories. There's lots of ways you can adapt that. Now, this isn't about budgeting. This is just about you coming up with a detailed worksheet of your monthly expenses. And the reason that's really important is because as we move forward in creating your financial plan, your expenses are a big part of your financial plan. I hope you already know that, but if you don't know that, your income and your expenses and your cash flow, that's what determines the outcome of your financial life. Those are the things in real life that make the difference. So in your financial plan, we can really change the probabilities of success by tweaking those numbers. And look, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for you to add numbers and change the trajectory of your financial plan. And none of it really matters. What really matters is what happens in real life. And that's what I'm trying to teach you. On the other hand, it is kind of helpful to see where the numbers go when you tweak the numbers back and forth. So that's what I'm asking you to do. Play around in your plan and get a sense of what's happening in your financial plan. So expenses are a huge part of it. One of the biggest expenses you're ever going to have in your life is your home, your mortgage. So this week, I'm going to ask you to do a little research based on where you live, where you work, and kind of what your life is like 10 years from now when you graduate and you have this dream job. And I want you to do a little research and determine what home you're going to buy. Where is it? How much does it cost? What's the interest rate? All of these details you will find in the data card called your mortgage. So if you look at the screen right now, you'll see that I'm setting up a mortgage for Billy, and you'll see how to do that. Just add account. You're going to add the loan. You're going to add the property. And this is what I want you to do. So this is not difficult, but there is a good deal of detail in each of these data cards. So remember, when you're building your financial plan in Right Capital, the way that it works is we have lots of detailed data cards, and the data cards just hold fields with data. And the more accurate those fields are, the more accurate the data is, the more accurate your overall financial plan is going to be. So this is your mortgage, and I want you to pay attention to that. So it is now 10:30 a.m. I am going to jump on over to, let me see, I think I'll go right. Give me a second. I'm going to put the list on the page, and I'm going to jump over to GroupMe and see if we have any questions. I don't see any questions, so we will come right back to where we were. If you do have a question, if you're watching, you're welcome to post it in GroupMe. I'm going to check in from time to time. Okay, so back to where we were. We were in expenses. No, we were in home. I'm sorry. Let me get to the right place. So hopefully If you have any questions about how to set up your data card for your mortgage, that includes a couple of data cards. You're going to have the property, that's the asset that you own, but then you're going to have the liability, that's your mortgage, that's what you owe. Okay, so there's going to be a couple of things you're going to need to do. Eventually, we're going to do insurance. You don't have to do that this week, but you will see insurance there. So if you want to go ahead and do the research to determine how much insurance you're going to need and what it's going to cost, it's a good way. In fact, I would encourage you to make that part of your research because when you go to buy a home, you're going to have lots of extra expenses, including taxes and insurance. And so you want to know before you buy a house, what are those costs going to be? And obviously, they're part of the data card for the mortgage. Again, these expenses, like your mortgage, they make a huge impact in your overall financial plan. And so pay attention to those details. I'm not going to grade this assignment super harshly, but if you're missing data, if there's no data in the field, you will get deductions. So if you put something in one of those fields and the data's like it doesn't make sense, explain what you did. You know, if you're not sure, ask, do a little more research. Like I said, I'm not going to grade these really, it's not a difficult assignment, but there is a lot of detail, a lot of information. So pay attention to the details. And it's okay to guess. Just try and make it an informed guess, and don't leave it blank. If you leave it blank, you definitely will get deductions. If you put something in and you don't know what it is and you leave a comment, then I'll be like, okay, cool. The whole point is for you to learn, for you to grow. And that's what this assignment will help you do. This is a very important assignment. This is the setup, by the way. Next week, we're going to do the actual Credit Crush assignment. This week, I'm just asking you to set it up, start working on your financial plan, add these things, get 10 years older. You're going to buy a house, you're going to get a credit card, you're going to get, and you're going to update your expenses. So I'll go over the things we're going to do. In fact, we'll go over those. I don't know that I talked about the list real clearly, but so these are the things you can see. You might want to take a screenshot here. You're going to be 10 years older. You're going to have the income. You're going to have to do research to figure out how much income will you have if you get your dream job. So what is your income after graduation? What are your expenses after graduation? Remember that detailed card. And your home mortgage, you're going to add that. You're going to also buy your dream car. We'll talk about that in a minute. And so you'll see the data card for adding your car loan. And you're also going to spend $10,000 with a credit card. So you're going to have to do some research to determine what is a normal credit card interest rate. I want you to see, when we do the Credit Crush assignment, I want you to see the impact of this in your plan and your financial life. So, these are numbers for you for now. After the semester is over, you'll be able to go back and put things right in your financial plan and start to actually use the tools that you've been given to create an accurate financial plan for yourself based on your real life. But for now, moving forward in this semester, you're going to create your future by pretending you're 10 years older. Okay, so let's go to the car. Now, when we get into Billy's plan, you'll see that Billy's got some really cool vehicles. Billy and Sally were the avatars for this assignment early on when I started teaching this course. Excuse me. You may recall that Billy, I met Billy. I think I told this story about how I met Billy. Let me just tell you that story real quick. So I was at a Firestone getting some work done on my car, and there was this guy there, this kid, young man. His name was Billy, and he worked at Marathon, which is a plant in Texas City that I actually worked in. I had a business. I had a vending business, and I had 19 vending machines in this plant. So it was a little cash cow. It was a great little business. But anyway, so we had something in common. I got to talking to him, and he had purchased this truck, an F-150 pickup truck, and he was there to get some tires on sale. And Billy had a coupon for some tires on sale, and he met Sally. Now, my background, I used to be, well, a master mechanic, and part of that job, I would give people advice about how to fix their car and whatnot. So when Sally showed up, Sally was the service manager at this Firestone station. She was the person, basically she was a salesperson, not a service manager, but she was the person who would talk to customers about what's wrong with their vehicles and then recommend, here's what we need to do to fix it. And she was super good at her job. And she and Billy kind of clicked. Billy had this cool truck. Billy was a good-looking young man, and she was a very good-looking young lady, and they hit it off. But she sold him an upgrade. She sold him better wheels, better tires. He needed some work on his truck. By the time he walked out of there, he had a new credit account with Firestone at about $2,500, and I watched this whole thing happen. It was pretty interesting, and so I made this Billy and Sally part of my story. And over the years, the story has turned into, well, let's just say a story. So most of it's true, some of it's true, but it's really just a story. But the story goes like this. Billy came in to spend like $400 on some tires. He lived at home with his parents. He was making really good money working at Marathon. He meets Sally. She decides, she upsells him so that he will look really good in his truck. And that's how she sold it to him. She's like, dude, you will be a real stud if you put these wheels and these tires on your truck. And he's like, oh. And he did. He bought them. So the story goes that they liked each other. They ended up moving in with each other. And Billy, who got this new credit account, which was all, if he paid it off in 6 months, it was same as cash. But once he moved in with Sally, it was low interest. It was same as cash. If he would just pay it off, he could have easily paid off the full balance. Even the $2,500, he could have paid it off within 6 months if he just chunked a little money into the bank and saved it and then paid it off. But he didn't do that. In fact, he didn't pay it off, so he had to pay interest on the entire amount. And that's what you're going to get to see in your assignment, is how much that interest adds up. And he missed a payment or two, so his interest rate went up. But he paid the minimum, and he's still paying the minimum. So when you look at the numbers in Billy's plan, you're going to see that they really rack up. And that's the whole point of the Credit Crush assignment. So that's kind of the backstory about Billy and Sally, and that's whose plan we're looking at right now. So you're going to buy a car. I want you to buy your dream car. So you can see what kind of vehicles here that Sally and Billy have purchased. And I want you to do the same thing. I want you to buy a car that is like your dream car. And I know you may not want to do that. You may not actually do that in your real life, but in this assignment, you're required to do it because I want you to see what that looks like in your financial plan so that you can really get to know how credit works. So we will apply some credit strategies next week to pay off this debt. But right now, I just want you to accumulate debt. So you got your house, you got your car. Now I want you to spend 10 grand on a credit card. So you're going to have to do a little research and figure out how much is the interest on a credit card that you can actually get. So again, another data card. This is where you will add your credit. And again, the balance needs to be at least $10,000. And you get to decide how much the APR is. I'll be very eager to see what you come up with. That has increased over the last couple of years significantly. So I'm curious, though, what do you think? What do you find as the interest rate that you're going to have on your credit card? So check that out. Do a little research. Figure out what will you pay on your credit cards, and show me your work. So again, screenshots for all of these data cards as part of this week's assignment. And don't worry about getting everything just perfect. Just don't leave blanks, okay? Pay attention to each field in each data card and you'll be fine. And I'll show you what to do as we move forward. But right now you're setting yourself up for the real assignment called Credit Crush. This is the setup week, week 5. Okay, so let's do a little review. I think we covered pretty much everything that will be in your assignment this week. Hopefully by now you're getting to know kind of how your financial plan works. If not, that's no problem. But this week will be a good time for you to jump in and kind of really get familiar with how to navigate your plan. Don't forget you have an assignment coming up at the end of the semester where you will be asked to show your spending tracker for the semester. So that's separate from this assignment, but whatever tracker you're using, I want to make sure you're keeping up with that. And again, if you're using your bank, if you have a debit card, maybe use a credit card like I do, it doesn't really matter. But whatever you use for spending, that's what you're going to use to capture the data, the specific transactions for this semester. So don't forget that's part of your assignment this semester as well. Okay, let me just talk a little bit about the most important screen. Now, when you do this assignment, because of your age and because of the interest rates and because you're going to be using basically minimum payments for everything, which is fine, that's kind of the point of the assignment. I want you to replicate what I had in my life when Connie discovered that we were going to be buried in debt if we kept going the way we were going. The problem is with this software, with Right Capital, because of your age, because of the interest rates, because of time, you could very well see some monumental numbers that are probably not real accurate. But like you can see here that we're looking at a number that's just redonkulous big. And so I want you just to pay attention to the numbers in your financial plan. And if you have $100 million that you're going to be saving, it's not going to be so important this week, but next week I'm going to ask you to show me the screen when we actually apply these strategies, and you're going to see the same thing you're seeing on the screen now. Once you apply the strategies for managing your debt and paying, you're going to decide how are we going to attack your credit, the credit crush. And when you do that, you're going to see your financial plan is going to show you a before and after. Here's how much you will save if you apply these strategies. And if your savings is $1 billion, you should at least be like, what? So just be prepared for that. Because of what we're doing here, by making trajectories way out into the future, and because of your age, these numbers can get a little bit crazy. But I want you to pay attention to the numbers. I want you to understand why these numbers are going nuts. Many of you won't have crazy numbers, but probably a quarter, 25% or so will. And if that's you, I just want you to know you'll get deductions on your assignment as well as your capstone assignment if you have these huge numbers and you don't explain them, you don't try to figure out where they're coming from, and I'll show you how to do that as we move forward. But that's an important thing I wanted to just mention today as we get ready to step into the Credit Crush assignment. Okay, let's see. Let's jump into Q&A. I'm going to now, it's 10:45 a.m. and we're getting close to being done. I'm going to jump on over into GroupMe and see if we have any questions. Yeah, somewhere Layla says Blackboard is what they use instead of Canvas. Used to use, correct. I don't know where you're seeing Blackboard. I apologize if you're seeing that. It's an edit that I forgot to make somewhere along the line. Oh, that's an old one though, it looks like. But anyway, yeah, if you see Blackboard anywhere in any posting, if you'll take a screenshot and send it to me, I'll fix it. But yeah, the the tool we use at the University of Houston is not Blackboard any longer, thank goodness. It is Canvas. I love Canvas. It's so much better. Okay, let's see. I think what's next here? Oh, this is next week. Let me just give you a quick review of next week. Or no, this is actually, I'm sorry, this is an old screen that I was using previously. But this is what we've done. We've done savings. We've done budget. We've done the credit report and the FICO score. You've done the parental interview. That was awesome. That was this week's. I'm still reviewing those assignments, and it's a great assignment. And this week, we're doing the Credit Crush setup. Next week, week 6, we will do the actual Credit Crush assignment. And then coming up after that is bargaining and negotiating. I'm going to teach you how to bargain and negotiate anything. It's a fun lesson, a fun assignment, I think. It's an important one, too. Next week, the week after that, rather, week 8, we will review insurance. And insurance is one of those topics that I hate to say it, but if I'm an expert at anything, it is that insurance. So let me just review. So after insurance, the most popular topic in the course is investment. I'm going to teach you 4 investment strategies designed to help you maximize your returns and minimize your risk. That's coming. You won't want to miss that. And from there, we'll go into asset allocation, which is a keystone. It's one of the actual strategies. Asset allocation is the number one most important determinant of your portfolio's return. So you're going to learn about that when we cover 4 investment strategies designed to maximize returns and minimize risk over time. I want you, if nothing else happens in this course, I want you, excuse me, my nose itches. I want you to be very confident to know that starting day 1, when you get that dream job, you're going to be prepared to make wise choices with your money when it comes to investing. So I am going to teach you the essential elements of what you need to know to become very confident in making investments. And I promise you, if you stick around, if you pay attention, you will learn how to be very confident as an investor. And that's going to start with the investment basics, or these 4 investment strategies designed to help you maximize your returns and minimize your risk. And I'll tell you what they are right quick. Number 1 strategy is diversification. I'm reading a book right now called The Smartest Guys in the Room. It's about Enron. And Enron is a company that, if you don't know about it, just Google it, read the story, and it will help you. I'll tell you a story about a few clients I worked with who were with Enron. And diversification is the key. It's the strategy. It's number 1. It's the most basic. Number 2 is what I consider to be the most powerful investment strategy for folks in your age group for helping you build wealth, and that is dollar cost averaging. I'm going to tell you the story about Farmer Joe and how he invested in cows in a way that helped him maximize his returns and minimize his risk. Dollar cost averaging, the most powerful investment strategy for younger folks. It will help you maximize your returns and minimize your risk. And I'm going to show you how to do that in what I call the perfect investment, which is your 401k. I'm going to teach you about the perfect investment, and then I'm going to teach you about dollar cost averaging, Farmer Joe. So that's coming up. And then the 4th investment strategy that I'm going to cover is portfolio rebalancing. It's kind of like dollar cost averaging, but you do it in a systematic manner with your investments. So you'll see how all that works. I'm going to use your 401k, your company 401k, to illustrate how all this works. These strategies, these 4 investment strategies designed to help you maximize returns and minimize risk. Next, after that, we'll jump in, like I said, asset allocation. You'll do some actual work in your financial plan to take what you learned about asset allocation and apply it in your plan so that you can see how your investments perform when you use different asset allocations. So from more conservative to more aggressive, you'll get to see how that works. And then we'll talk about one of the things that's hugely important and one of the three laws of personal finance. The second law of personal finance is the law of tax advantaged investing. The IRS makes the rules. It's your job to take advantage of them. And that's what you're going to learn as I teach you about different types of accounts so that you know how to maximize your tax advantaged investment strategies. That's coming up in week number 11. And then the blueprint for financial success. And this is the assignment where you're going to take your spending tracker for this semester and you're going to have to tell me, specifically show me all the transactions, how much you spent to the penny. And then you're going to give me a graph, and whatever tool you're using to track your spending will make this assignment super easy. But you have to use a tracker and you have to track your spending. So if you use Chase and you use a debit card, their app will do all the work. I just want you to grab those transactions, show me that you're tracking your spending, and then you're going to create a chart. Again, that app will do that. It'll categorize your spending according to this, that, and the other category. And from there, your app will create a chart. I don't care what kind of chart, just a chart that shows the categories of your spending. And that's part of the assignment. That's part 2 of that assignment. Part 3 of that assignment will be, tell me what you learned. So as you look at your spending over the semester, there's very likely to be a couple of surprises that make you go, oh my, wow, I didn't know I spent that much at the nightclubs. I didn't know I spent that much at Amazon, whatever. By tracking your spending, you get to see what you're spending by category, and that's the purpose for that assignment. It's called the Blueprint for Financial Success. And then week 13 is the capstone, which we will spend plenty of time on. Okay. So that's it. It's 10:53 a.m. I'm going to jump on over and see if there's anything. Do we use our credit? So, Nathalie, that's a great question. You can use your credit card or your debit card, whichever you prefer. If it really boils down to what do you use for spending. So if you use a debit card, then that's what you should use. If you're using multiple vehicles, like if you have 3 credit cards and 2 debit cards, you're going to want to use something like Mint to put that all together. But hopefully you're using a debit card and your bank app then will do the trick. It will do all the work for you. And by the way, I've covered a little bit about how the Right Capital tool has a budgeting function, but to use that budgeting tool and to track your spending with Right Capital, you have to link your cards. So if you're using 3 credit cards and 2 debit cards, you would want to link those in your account. And I can, if you don't know how to do that, I'm happy to show you, but that's not something I know how you feel about linking your cards and sharing your data. But the truth is, if you're using multiple cards, you're going to want to do that. Mint.com makes that super easy and lots of people love it. The difference between Mint.com and Right Capital, if you use Mint.com, which is a free app that does the same thing with the same level of security as Right Capital, if you use Mint.com, you're going to get bombarded with ads. If you use the tool that I've provided through Right Capital, it does the same thing with the same bank level encryption. When you link your accounts, your credit card, your debit card, your bank account, whatever, it puts it all together. It shows you all the transactions. It allows you to create, a really good budget tool. So, and you don't get ads. You'll get no advertising. We don't sell your data. Mint.com shares your data with a lot of people that are trying to sell you stuff. That's the difference. So hopefully that helps. Okay, I think I've got the next week's list here. By the way, I think I answered that question. Thank you very much. I kind of like this group me thing. I'm sorry to be invading your group me this week, but we're not having a Zoom meeting. Got a problem with Zoom. I got to figure it out. So thank you. If you missed that, watch the live stream, and this will be posted to our playlist, as you know. We will get this video in just a few minutes posted to the playlist. So next week is the actual Credit Crush assignment, and you will get to see how that works next week. And I hope that this week's assignment was helpful, and we will. Oh, let me just mention early assignments for those of you who are doing this, submitting your assignments early. I want to mention it again because as we move forward, there's just a lot more stuff that you could have deductions for. Again, I'm not going to be real critical in grading these assignments, but I am looking for things like if you have blank, empty slots in your data cards, you're going to get pushback and deductions. If you turn your assignment in early, though, it's extra work for me, to have to tell you again to fix something in your assignment. But you get that benefit if you turn your assignment in early by Friday, 3 p.m. So please do that so that I can help you. You can help me help you, and you get extra points. You get some feedback. You get an opportunity to make corrections. So, man, many of you, over about half of you, are taking advantage of the early assignment benefits, and I appreciate that. I wanted to give you an opportunity to earn an easy A. I know there's a lot of homework in this course, but you can earn that 950 points is what you need for the A. And by turning your assignments in early, you get those extra points, and it really helps. And you get feedback and an opportunity to fix anything that needs to be fixed. Okay, that's it. I'm going to end with this little clip that I created. It's about wisdom, and I hope that as you do this week's secret class collaboration was that clip of that politician. And I hope you watch that. If you didn't, you need to rewind and watch that and give me your comments. I'm just looking for, how do you feel about what he said? What do you think about that? And it's really, this whole lesson is my attempt to help you contrast this culture of consumerism where we live kind of in a default mode of everything's about money and in a culture of consumerism versus living a life that's driven by wisdom and making wise choices, not just with money, but in relationships, in life. And that's what I'm hoping we did in this lesson. It's part of what I hope we did. Now we're going to get right down to the financial mechanics of managing debt, and that's coming next week. So that's it for this week. Thank you for watching. I'm going to go ahead and end, and I'm going to go blow my nose. Got a nasal whole congestion thing going on, so I apologize for this, for the coughing, sniffing, and nose itching. You guys have a great week, and I will look forward to seeing you. I'll post this in our playlist just as soon as I end this broadcast, which is happening now.